Hi, Hayley.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about cycling and cycling holidays and all the work that's gone on behind the scenes to bring brand new cycling holidays to Lincolnshire. So, can you just give us a bit of insight into why cycling is a popular trend? Now, obviously, pre-COVID, there was a lot of interest in cycling holidays, and we saw a lot of interest coming from the international market, which was going to be really, really good for encouraging more people to come and holiday in Lincolnshire. But what we've seen actually is a boom in that interest because of COVID, with people wanting to be more connected outside, people looking for family activities to do together. So in some ways, the cycling work we've been doing now for the past couple of years is kind of perfectly placed for tourism recovery the other side of COVID. So can you just tell us a little bit about what have we been doing on cycling holidays for Lincolnshire?
Yeah, absolutely. So we became involved in the Cycle England project in 2018, I think it was, when we first started. We partnered with Welcome to Yorkshire to deliver the project. It very much centred around developing cycling holidays in Lincolnshire and Yorkshire, originally for the Dutch and the German tourism market. So we were really pleased to partner with Yorkshire with all of their experience in the Tour de Yorkshire, and they are very much a cycling county. So who better to sort of to learn of, really? So so we partnered with them. We started off by looking at the routes that we currently had in the county, and so we were looking for long distance cycle routes, because if someone was coming from Holland or Germany, we wanted them to stay for 5 to 6 days. We wanted them to enjoy beautiful Lincolnshire, taking some lovely scenic routes, stay in our accommodation, visit our fantastic attractions, and yeah, spend money, really, eat and drink and enjoy the county. So we started off looking at the routes. What we found was we had pockets of really good routes that took in lots of beautiful scenery and attractions, but we didn't have anything that was particularly suitable or joined up for a 4 to 5 day holiday. So that's really where we started the project, was to look at all of those pockets of routes and to join them into something that would be suitable in terms of product. So that's where we started. We ended up originally with 3 routes. So we had one which was centred around Lincoln, and went in and out of Lincoln each day on little circular day rides. We had one which was based in the Lincolnshire Wolds, and that one a similar sort of setup, but coming in and out of Louth each day. We then have the Humber to the Wash, which starts at the Humber Bridge and goes all the way sort of North Lincolnshire, across the Wolds, down the coast and down to Boston, and ends there. So that's a point-to-point route. And then latterly in the project, we were able to develop a 4th route as well, and that was based in South Lincolnshire. So that was pretty much based in Belton, the little village of Belton, each day, and then went out to historic houses in the south of the county and finished up in Stamford and at Burley. So they were our 4 routes. We then worked with Welcome to Yorkshire to engage with the trade. So that's both in terms of the tour operators and ground handlers and the sort of the facilitation of the actual product. So getting product into the visitors' hands, really, and then also the businesses that were going to deliver the product for us as well. So the accommodation providers, the attractions, the food and drink providers, all of those businesses as well. So that was very much a sort of the business support is very much sort of a 2-prong attack, if you like. So those that were facilitating us to deliver to the visitor, and then the actual sort of nuts and bolts of the routes as well. And that was a great part of the project to be involved in. We developed cycle-friendly workshops for the businesses. we were able to place, it was around about £25,000 worth of grants into the county as well to establish fleets of e-bikes, because that was particularly with the Dutch and German market, they look to use e-bikes, which is something that we didn't really have in Lincolnshire particularly. We had a couple of providers that maybe had one or two, and I remember that there is a specialist e-bike company in Navenby, just outside of Lincoln, but really there wasn't a great deal of provision there. So we were really pleased to work within the project to help businesses put those fleets of bikes into place as well.
And do you think e-bikes, I know when we first started doing Cycle England, e-bikes was a whole new concept to us, and it's perhaps something that hasn't quite at that stage made it to the country. But as accommodation providers, as businesses who are looking at maybe diversifying their offer or welcoming different kind of visitors in post-COVID, how important is that kind of e-bike market?
Yeah, it's within the Dutch and the German audience that we were originally looking at, everyone rides e-bikes. It was really important for the project to start off with. So yeah, so it was really important in that first instance. But now that we're looking into COVID recovery and looking at flipping this project and looking at it from a domestic standpoint as well. Yeah, more and more people are using e-bikes within the UK as well. What it does is it gives you a level playing field, really. So you don't have to be
an elite cyclist,
an ardent cyclist, an elite cyclist, and don your lycra and and go for it. You can have someone in the family that is that person, but then if you've got someone who maybe isn't, there's no need to feel that you're not going to be able to keep up with them, or within the Lincolnshire wolds that the hills are going to be too hilly, or it just gives you a level playing field and makes the day so much more relaxing as well.
And that's the whole concept around the bookable cycling holidays that we're now working on. They are being defined as leisure holidays, aren't they? So it's not about elite cyclists, although like you say, we might see multi-generational holiday groups come in post-COVID as well. That's a trend that we're seeing. So you might have people in that family who do want to sprint off and do their time trials and stuff, whilst also sort of bringing up the rear of the people on the e-bikes enjoying the cream teas and cakes along the way. So for tourism businesses, what are the things that we've learned through this project about hosting cyclists on holidays? I know you mentioned earlier that we had grant funding about 18 months ago for cycle storage and how to become cycling friendly as a business. What other sort of information have you gleaned in the project that would be helpful to share?
Well, it's about being visible online, I would say, is a really important part of the project, and appealing to the cyclist as well. So we know that this type of holiday maker, they'll be sat browsing on their phone or whatever, and looking at the internet to be able to book their holiday, and they want to be able to see straight away, for example, if they are booking as an independent traveller and not through a tour operator, they want to be able to see that the accommodation, for example, has got safe and secure cycle storage, that it's maybe got a charging point close by to charge their e-bike if they're coming on an e-bike. They want to be able to see that it's, where it is, just location and what attractions it's close to, and what they will be able to do when they're at a pit stop or along those lines. So first of all, I would say it's really important that the businesses are visible online, and that's almost a given, really. This audience is tech savvy and they want to book online. And then there are the things that I've just mentioned that visitor is looking for. They're the things that the accommodation providers need to be able to provide as well. So somewhere to safe at night, to secure bikes, that also sort of fits with cycle insurance as well. That's quite a big thing. So it has to be of a certain standard. The anchor points on the floor that you attach your bike to, so they need to be of a certain standard as well to match insurance criteria, which is a really simple thing, actually. I mean, I'm maybe making it sound more complicated than it is. It's a really simple thing, but it's just one of those things that you have to know, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, safe and secure storage, charging points. If you've got someone that's coming in that's muddy after a day's ride, they'll want somewhere to sit down and take the kit off,
Yeah.
you know, not trail it through into your bedroom. So it's just putting yourself in the mind of someone, you know, a cyclist that's done 30-40 kilometers. They're gonna come into you at the end of the day, and how are they going to want to sort of carry on their evening, really? So, and all of those things. Sorry, go on.
No, so I was just going to say that also translates into attractions as well, doesn't it? You know, if you're coming in somewhere for a cream tea or a cup of coffee or a Lincolnshire sausage sandwich to kind of recharge yourself, there's also those, you know, whether simple things like having hooks on the wall for them to put their cycle helmet on, or maybe having socks outside that they can pull over their cycling shoes or their cleats if they are deciding to wear that. So what we found in the project are actually some really quick hacks and quick wins about how actually you can make yourself cycle friendly. And this leads into another piece of work that you're doing. You're currently working with Welcome to Yorkshire, who are the partner on Cycle England, on a cycling charter. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So that will be the Visit Lincoln Cycle England cycling charter. And that is very much about getting all of those bits and pieces we've just spoken about into a format that businesses can very easily sort of tap into, and be able to show the prospective visitor that they are cycle friendly, that they're ready to take cycling visitors.
Fantastic. And we're not just satisfied with Cycle England, are we? We're actually got another project in the pipeline which we're currently sort of working on. So do you want to talk us a little bit how we're going to use Cycle England as almost like a launch pad for developing this into the future as well, around the Cycle Lincolnshire project development too?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, Cycle Lincolnshire seems to be the next logical step for us. I mentioned right at the beginning of us talking that, you know, who better to learn from than Yorkshire when it comes to cycling. And what that's done is it's given us a really strong base in understanding what it takes to attract the cycling visitor. But also what it's done is when we've had product development trips and we've had trade representatives over, and they've come to visit Yorkshire and they've come to visit Lincolnshire and look at what we have to offer. It's very much, wow, my goodness, you know, this landscape, what you have here in Lincolnshire is just as good as what anyone else can offer. And actually it's obviously got other bits as well that other areas aren't able to offer. In terms of undiscovered bits of the county and beautiful, the flatness of Lincolnshire is a gift to cycling, for example. So so we've taken all of that learning. We've learned how to put routes together, safe routes as well as being commercial. Obviously, they have to be safe. We've learned how to promote those routes to the trade and different audiences as well. So we're now looking towards a domestic audience as well as international visitors. So we're going to take all of that learning and model that into Cycle Lincolnshire. You mentioned that, you know, with COVID recovery and what's happening in the world at the moment, people want to be outside, don't they? They want to be in the fresh air, and families are very much in their, you know, in little bubbles together and looking for activities to do together as well. And if we can make cycling top of mind to be able to do that, then I think that we've got a good basis to move forward with Cycle Lincolnshire.
And the other exciting thing about Cycle Lincolnshire is it's also going to offer the potential to have those shorter day trip cycling opportunities rather than the longer ones. So the longer ones are very good for people who are running accommodation businesses, because we will actively be pushing holiday makers into making those bookings with the Lincolnshire businesses. But equally, There's also a residential market out there of Lincolnshire residents who perhaps might want to get out and about as well. So I think the other good thing about Cycle Lincolnshire is we can also try and monetize and build packages together which are more day-based. So how would a day-based cycling package, what could that look like, just to sort of plant ideas in our heads of how we could evolve or develop, you know, businesses and ideas as part of COVID recovery? What would a day cycling trip
well, if you take one, for example, which is really close to me here at the moment in Branston, so we are just on a couple of miles away from the Water Railway, which is a really lovely day ride. So that day experience might start off with looking at the Cycle Lincolnshire website to book your bike to start off with. So you're able to book an e-bike and go and pick it up or have it there for you ready when you want to start your trip. So you might book a bike, then you might, for example, pop to Washington Hall and have a cup of coffee and something lovely to start the day off with. Then you might cycle along the Water Railway. You might stop in Bardney again at the cafe there and have something to eat there, which might be pre-bookable, so that you know when you're going to arrive, it's there ready and waiting for you. You'll then carry on to Woodhall Spa and Coningsby and maybe visit Tattershall Castle, and that could be pre-booked online for you as well. So you don't have to worry about doing all of that sort of as and when you get there. And then sort of double back and have something lovely to eat at the end of the day at the Petwood Hotel. That's how it might work, for example. So we're looking at a day ride that you're very much able to look at it commercially and add value to that experience.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk us around Cycle England. We're going to start seeing activity come through in sort of the national marketing campaign around March, April time. Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. So that's some of the consumer-facing activity breaks in March. And then before that, sort of the end of this month and into March, we'll also be launching business support and B2B activity as well in terms of cycle-friendly workshops. So that takes place first, and then yes, the marketing activity breaks the end of March.
Fantastic. Well, thanks ever so much for talking us around it, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, you're welcome. See you soon. Bye.